A beggar carried a tiger token capable of mobilizing armies. Only when everyone knelt before him did they realize Jack's hidden identity. Jack was once a war god who fought on the battlefield, killing countless enemies to defend the nation. Yet to protect his homeland, he went into hiding, dressed in rags. To the world, he was merely a street vendor, but in Mia's heart, he was the man she cherished most. 5 years ago, Jack returned safely from the battlefield. He had intended to use this opportunity to reveal his true identity to Mia. Yet unexpectedly, he was summoned to defend the border in a time of crisis. Faced with the soldiers' desperate pleas, he could not bear to set aside the lives of Yan's people and stand idly by. Between his country and his personal affection, he resolutely chose his nation. But this departure held uncertain promises of life or death. His return was far from guaranteed. To spare Mia the burden of waiting for him and to ensure she could find a worthy husband, he destroyed the marriage contract they had prepared and broke off their relationship before departing for the battlefield. Little did he know that Mia was already carrying his child. Soon after, her family discovered the truth. They had already selected a husband for her, but news of her pregnancy would surely bring shame upon the family. To preserve the Milan household's reputation, her father declared that if she abandoned the child and married into the general's household, the matter could be treated as never having happened. Mia could not bear to sacrifice a life to secure her family's chance to climb the social ladder. She refused outright, seeing the family she had lived with for so long act with such hypocrisy for power. She resolved to sever all ties with them. She resolved to raise the child alone. Yet the days that followed proved unbearably harsh. Without the protection of noble lineage, she could only toil at menial labor among common folk. Occasionally, her beauty drew the attention of ill-intentioned men. Facing their provocations, Mia endured in silence. The child, who had never seen his father, could only express his longing through portraits. Meanwhile, Jack lay unconscious from severe battlefield wounds when a dying physician stumbled upon him and brought him home to tend to his injuries. After days of devoted care, Jack regained consciousness. Learning he'd been unconscious for 5 years, he rushed to the capital, searching for his long-lost first love, only to unexpectedly encounter his unseen daughter, who immediately called him Daddy. The restaurant owners quickly recognized this was the child born out of wedlock to Mia of the Milan family. Faced with the crowd's insults toward the child, Jack could no longer bear it and stepped in to stop them. Yet he was stunned by the child's words. Jack demanded of Lily, "Why do you call me Daddy?" Lily explained she had seen her mother's portrait and recognized Jack as her father the moment she saw him. Seeing the striking resemblance in their eyes and brows, she promptly demanded Jack compensate her for her new clothes. But Jack had rushed out without any silver. As they stood in a standoff, the child noticed the pendant Jack wore at his waist and demanded it as payment for the clothes. Jack warned him, asking if he was sure he wanted the pendant, not fearing it might bring trouble. Ignoring Jack's caution, the crowd dismissed his warning, seeing only a rare, high-quality item that must be worth a fortune. They promptly took the pendant to a pawn shop to settle the debt. The shopkeeper glanced at it and returned it immediately. As the group complained the pawnbroker was a fool for not recognizing its value and prepared to leave, they were suddenly surrounded by soldiers. Stunned by the imposing display of force, they suddenly recalled Jack's warning and were filled with unease. Just then, a familiar voice caught their attention. Jack stepped forward, warning them, "That thing can cost you your life if mishandled." Seeing the long-lost faces before him, he felt a wave of relief wash over him. When the crowd witnessed the marshal, now a deputy general, kneeling before Jack, they suddenly realized the extraordinary stature of the man. They immediately fell to their knees, begging for mercy, but it was too late. Jack had not informed the emperor of his return to the capital. He only wished to win back the heart of his beloved. To marry Mia, he immediately ordered his men to Milan Manor to deliver the joyous news. Mia's parents summoned her back to Milan Manor and informed her of the general's marriage to the heiress of Milan Manor. The Milan family believed that as the Grand Marshal of the nation, it was unthinkable for him to marry a woman who had borne a child out of wedlock. They promptly decided to marry off Mina, the second daughter of Milan Manor, to secure his standing in the court. Her father even sought to marry Mia off as a concubine to a dissolute young master. Unexpectedly, her parents would stoop to such lengths to curry favor with power. If she refused this marriage, her father threatened to sell his own daughter into the brothel district. Mia was unwilling yet powerless. She could only silently pray for Jack's appearance. On the wedding day, the second daughter of the household wore a specially tailored wedding gown. All present marveled at her beauty. Mina knew this wedding was merely a temporary arrangement. Though he had verbally agreed, he had long since devised an escape plan. He intended to flee far away with his daughter after the ceremony, but what followed utterly disrupted Mina's plans. Her parents saw through Mina's little scheme to keep the powerful John in check. They disregarded the wedding ceremony sequence. Before the general arrived, they ordered her to marry the wastrel. Immediately, servants pinned her down, but they didn't know this act would enrage Jack completely. What awaited the Milan family would be endless hell. Just then, Marshal Jack arrived. Everyone was stunned. Mia was even more astonished, for this was the man she had longed for day and night.